Bold and beautiful spoilers, nature or nurture? Just what makes the murdering psychopath Thomas Forrester tick? Bold and beautiful spoilers find that Thomas Forrester, Matthew Atkinson, seems to be the nasty piece of work right now. He's been keeping the fact that Phoebe Forrester, River Davidson, and Mandaline Valdez is really Hope Logan's biological daughter, a secret that he can have a brand new wife and by proxy install a new mom for Douglas Forrester. But that isn't his only crime. Bold and beautiful spoilers, nature or nurture? Just what makes the deranged psycho Thomas Forrester tick? If it were just that, we could chalk it up to grief and perhaps not handling the death of his wife Caroline Forrester all that well. But the lengths this guy has gone to are really disturbing, including but not to be unlimited to using his child as a bait to trap Hope. Thomas has practically used poor little Douglas and the loss of his mom as a bait for Hope, who herself is a grieving mother in need of love of a child. This seemed pretty legate at first because Douglas was grieving for his mom and Thomas was grieving for Caroline, and part of them will always be, but Thomas really pushed the envelope with it. He kept insisting that little Douglas need a mom, which he does, but he seemed to insist that the only way Hope could stand in as mom would be if she married Thomas. That would have been a deal breaker for most women, but Hope was in a vulnerable place. She had lost Beth. Her marriage was in a rocky place. She needed someone to lean, so Thomas took advantage, which seemed to have worked in his favor. Bold and beautiful spoilers, Thomas' long list of deviant crimes. Multiple death threats. He has threatened Emma Barber, Nia Sioux, Xander Avant, and now Flo Fulton, Katrina Bowden with imminent death if they reveal the secret of baby Phoebe's identity to Hope. That's 3 people, 3 too many. 2 that are still in fear for their lives. Xander Van traveled all the way to London to get away from Thomas and his madness. Flo is on the verge of having a nervous breakdown, and she may very well do it now that Wade Spencer is on the case and wanting her to tell him the truth. That just leaves Emma Barber. Oh wait, no, it doesn't, because Thomas murdered Emma. That's right, Thomas committed cold-blooded murder. When Emma found out about the secret, Emma was on her way to tell Hope and Liam. He followed her into the parking lot and practically chased her in his car on down the highway in LA, where she lost control of the vehicle and died at the scene. No one has been able to prove that it was Thomas so far, but because it was such a desolate area and there were no traffic cams, rip Emma. With all of these events culminating, you have to wonder just what makes this. There are a few psychological theories out there, specifically the nature is versus nurture theory. Nature seems that's the way a person was created, and that's way who they are. Nurture, however, points out how they grew up, and us fans know that Thomas didn't have the easiest of childhoods. Bold and beautiful spoilers, Thomas' parents. He had scarcely known his mother, Taylor Hayes, Hunter Tyler, when she was shot by Sheila Carter, Kimberly Brown, that have had impact on little Thomas. Then his father, Rich Forrester, married Brooke Logan and made her his stepmom. As we all know, Thomas isn't keen on Brooke and his feeling is mutual. So you could say Thomas has had maternal abandonment issues for a while. If that have been the only thing to go wrong in Thomas' life, say the only loss that he had suffered, then might not have been sent him over the edge. But as it is, he also suffered the loss of his sister Phoebe Forrester in 2008 in a tragic car accident where Rick Forrester, Brooke's son, was driving. Speaking of sisters, he also thought that Steffi was dead for years, so it would seem that Thomas' life has been marred by death so far. However, Thomas was pretty normal up until the death of his wife Caroline. Not entirely sure what was up to about Caroline's death that sent Thomas over the edge. Perhaps it was the sadness of it, or the fact that he saw the cycle being repeated with his son and he didn't want that. But the death of Caroline seems to have really cracked Thomas. One could make the assumption that all the tragic death over the course of Thomas's life, coupled with the emotional abandonment issues that he felt when his mother and sister died, slowly built up over the years. He probably didn't process his grief properly at the time that it happened, and then when Caroline's death hit him, it snapped him. Bold and beautiful spoilers, Caroline's death. It happened off screen. We didn't see how profoundly his wife's death affected him, but in the first few days after Caroline's death, being alone with a 4-year-old, you probably cannot understand the concept of death, and why mommy was never coming back must have been terrifying. Not that current Thomas is a figure anyone could sympathize with, but in that moment you have to feel bad for the guy. Probably didn't know what to do, and then he came home, and when he saw that Hope and Douglas were bonding, he instantly clung to her. But is all of that really enough to warrant death threats and murder? In Thomas's mind, yes, he's panicking. He will do anything to get his life back to normal right now, and to him normal means having a nuclear family unit. He will do anything to protect that nuclear family unit. He will resort to extreme measures that are not right at all, but make perfect sense to Thomas. The sad thing is that it could have been all prevented. I don't think Thomas ever considered grief counseling to deal with his losses, or if he did, he didn't give it enough of a try. I think we all know that at this point, it's not going to end very well for him. Let's hope that little Douglas get out of this mess unscathed. Will Thomas break further? Stay tuned. Bold and beautiful spoilers. Douglas Spencer, Don Diamond takes over Italy. B&B spoilers indicate that Don Diamond is having a blast in Italy. As a matter of fact, Don, his beautiful wife Cindy, and of course his rock-hard abs are enjoying their vacation on Amalfi Coast, with the actor sharing new photos on his Instagram account. Here is what you need to know. Bold and beautiful spoilers. Dollar Bill Spencer takes over Italy, sharing a photo from Amalfi Coast. The handsome daytime television captioned his photos with, "The only thing better than cruising magnificent Amalfi Coast is doing it with forever friends at Cindy Amolby, and I spent a perfect day with Glenn and Dorrit Rotner at Glen Rotner and Dorato Postiano. Beautiful, experiencing the beautiful Blue Grotto. Wow, lunch at Concert del Sagano. Outstanding, swimming, laughing, chilling, just the rest." A lot of Don's fans commented on the photos. "Looking sexy, Don. Miss you as Dollar Bill on B&B. When is your character coming back?" Along with, "I went to Amalfi Coast last year and it's more beautiful than words can actually describe or pictures portray. Have a blast." Another fan wrote, "I love you, Don. You're a wonderful actor. I'm glad you're enjoying and sharing your beautiful places with us." Clearly, Don Diamond is living his best life, and let's face it, folks, the man deserves it. He's one of the hardest working actor in the daytime television world. Hey, it's not easy being Dollar Bill Spencer, a man who's both loved and hated at the same time, right? Now, as far as what's in store for Bill Spencer on Bold and Beautiful remains to be seen. There are some fans who believe that he and Katie Logan, Heather Tom, might actually make things work this time around, and then there are those who believe that Bill is up to his old tricks again. Of course, fans have to tune in to find out what happens next with the drama. From now on, drop us a line with your thoughts in your comment section below. Don't forget to come back to Daily Soap Dish for all of the latest exciting news on all of your favorite daytime television soaps: The Bold and the Beautiful, The Young and the Restless, General Hospital, and Days of Our Lives.